So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Hi, colleagues. Nice to see you. Cheers, everybody. And yeah, my name is Alex. And yeah, I'm here to share a little bit of my experience about the topic you already know, like how to make your video calls, your video presentations, maybe your demo, even a little bit better. And first of all, I'm really happy to answer a very common question from my colleagues, engineers, is why? What is wrong with our video calls? And yeah, it's pretty reliable question, and the answer is very easy. Possibly, some of you have heard about the code smell, also known as crappy code, also known for Russian speakers as говно code. And you see the features of this smelling code. You understand that smelling code actually works usually, yeah? But it just looks not so good, and it creates some kind of bad emotions, not so good, and it can bring to some future mistakes and so on. So, well, that's the issue of my presentation, because I work with developers, I work with tester engineers, with any people who communicate within the software development process. Sometimes I consult them, and I see that about 60% of people, they just use video calls like on this like level of the video call smell, like smelling video call. That's actually the first issue, main issue why we need to change it sometimes, why I recommend people to change this approach, because resolving those mistakes and go into better quality of your video, you make better emotions in emotion here of people you communicate with, you make them like talking to you, like seeing your face, and that's actually brings you to some kind of easier communication, better understanding of one another, and so on. Well, let's jump right now to the issue. And the very first mistake I see pretty often is the one that you see right now, so-called dark silhouette or dark shade. When the participants, they just have any kind of beautiful bright window right behind their backs. And that is why when they use just normal, not very expensive camera, as you can see here, they transform to this horrible black silhouette. So what to do with that? It's very typical. Just turn a little bit your laptop. Maybe move your table, maybe move your chair, maybe use additional light source right on your face, on your figure. The best direction of the light that falls on your face is approximately from 45 degrees behind the camera. Again, if you have this, the light goes very straight ahead, your face can become very flat. But yeah, so 45 degrees is kind of best option. Next one, a big question of so-called framing. This is a situation, it's a situation that, again, you can see right now, situation when people just orient the camera to have just this small talking head somewhere on the bottom of the screen, and a lot of useless space that don't use for anything at all. Again, coming back to the basic recommendation, what to do with that. Like, allow your gestures, allow your hands appear. Let about 3 to 5 centimeters of free space be above your head. And if possible, allow yourself to make your gestures, like put your arms on left and right and allow yourself to gesticulate as wide as beautiful as you can. Well, of course, that's again true if you just provide a demo, you don't show in yourself, you're not showing your face or your body to your audience. You're mostly showing possibly your screen, and that's correct. And when you're showing your screen, you're absolutely welcome to change your position. Like right now, I put my hand on my mouse, and yeah, I can show something, I can manipulate mouse cursor on the screen. But first seconds before you demonstrate and last seconds after, you can greet your listeners, you can greet people you work with. And that's actually the way how to make better emotional level, better emotions about yourself, about you. And that's the way how to look better during those video calls. Well, one more. Actually, this is kind of my whiteboard to show. So yes, we go smells. You see this frame mistake, this dark shade mistake. And one more very common, lovely mistake I really like is the pajama mistake. It's a situation when a person just wake up in the morning in pajama and go to the computer and start working approximately the way as I do it right now. So you can see, like this again, turn my camera, you can see my fancy pajama pants that I use specially for this video session that I use not so commonly. So again, this kind of, I mean, your video call is your office. And of course, it's home office, but on the other hand, it is home office. So technically, it's expected from you to be in specific like, office outfit. And very important thing that sometimes you can be very relaxed at home and so on, but mistakes can happen. And if you, for example, just start searching in YouTube, like very common, very typical, let's say, mistakes, errors of video calls, video presentations, you will see this very famous situation when there was a journalist, it was in somewhere in Italy or Spain, I don't know exactly, sorry guys, but the journalist who just made his speech during the news program on TV, by the way, international TV, from his home, very beautiful library behind his back. But at one specific moment, he just sat without pants at all, with underwear, only having underwear. And another example, okay, yeah, no more examples. Next, very big, I mean, general recommendation, and that was you like it. Very general recommendation. When you go into prepare your video call, ask yourself about what can go wrong. A very important thing, what can go wrong? What can you do to avoid any kind of mistakes, to avoid the situations that you don't want people don't want to have? Like Google, what can you do with like to make your video call better? You can find a lot of recommendations about sound, like buying a better microphone, coming closer, using your, of course, hands-free headset, buy better camera. Again, it works. Of course, check your internet connection, and of course, close all possible programs that can weaken your internet connection, that can use the internet, like close all YouTube, everything, and so on. But approximately 40% of fail that people didn't see can be just resolved by very simple question. What can go wrong? What do you want your audience to see behind your back? For example, one example, right behind the camera in front of me, there is a kitchen part of my flat. And I don't want to show it to you. It's kind of my personal kitchen. It's not part of my home office. That is why I've chosen just this like white, not actually white, gray background. I use it for some specific events, like when I really respect the audience I perform to. And yeah, so think about the background. Interesting question is a virtual background. Some teams, project teams like it very much. Other project teams prefer to work without it. And in majority of very serious situations, people prefer to work without any virtual background because just it looks more serious, looks more like, respected for the people you communicate with is when you have your not virtual but real background prepared for your presentation. Your real background is really good, and that is a great way to show your respect to your audience. Well, technically, that's basically it. And long list of possible mistakes can, of course, predict that you should close all possible paths and ask your roommates or teammates to respect your time and do not appear here. Again, you possibly have seen this very, very funny video of, again, I suppose, Italian news speaker who just started, like, made his, like, being on air, started being on air from his home. And at one specific moment, there was a, just sorry for saying that, nude lady passing behind his back, a real nude lady. And it wasn't his wife, it was his, sorry, lover or something like that. And his wife actually seen this video that has been on the air. Well, very stupid mistake, very stupid error can be easily predicted. So, summarizing, Think about the picture, make this picture beautiful. Think about the lighting effects. Use the daylight. Daylight is the best thing to use, but never put this daylight behind your back this way. Best direction of the light is approximately 45 degrees from behind the camera you work with. Orient the frame. Think about the frame. When you really want to explain something to the audience, make sure all your body language is visible. You see, right now I'm focusing on visual picture. I'm focusing on what you can do specifically for demos, specifically for video calls. Of course, there are a lot of recommendations can be done to yourself, to you, from the point of view just body language, like presentation skills, how to speak, how to warm up your articulation system, and how to speak beautifully, to use tongue twisters and so on, about your voice, how to develop your voice, your body language. Look into the camera. One pretty important thing that can make your audience feel really in contact with you. Instead of watching somewhere behind, somewhere in the picture, somewhere outside, maybe you have double screen, like or 3 different screens, and you're focusing on those screens. When you communicate to those screens, possibly you're welcome to talk to those screens. But when you talk to your audience, make sure you talk to your audience and look into your audience eyes by looking into the camera. Frame, light, pajama, fail, and in general, do not allow your video calls smell bad. Thank you very much. And Anita, that's time for you. Please come back to our studio.